When it comes to premium credit cards, it seems like lounges are everything these days. It seems like the number one perk that people care about and that cards are jumping to offer is lounge access. So what I thought I'd do is go through some of the major cards that offer some sort of lounge access. And I won't be able to cover them all because when it comes to Priority Pass especially, there are lots of cards that provide some level of that. So I'll probably lump most of those together. But I thought I'd do a little ranking on what cards I think are the best, particularly for people who travel as a couple and travel often or travel as a family, because it's a different circumstance for people who are traveling alone than those who are traveling with others because of whether or not cards offer guest access or they make you pay for an authorized user to get it. So let's dive into the list together. Please hit the like and subscribe button and hang on as we look at all these lounge cards. Now in this list, I've included some of the more popular cards on the market. Things like the American Airlines Executive Card and the Delta Reserve Card, the United Club Card, of course, the American Express Platinum, the Chase Sapphire Reserve Card, the Ritz-Carlton Card, the Venture X Card, the Marriott Brilliant Card, and the Strata Elite Card. And as we look at these cards, I'm going to put them really into four tiers. The first tier is what I'll call excellent. Now, this isn't going to be based upon how many total lounges they give access to, but rather how much access they provide to people who are traveling as a couple or traveling as a family. So guest access is going to be very important in this list. So the first tier is excellent. The second tier is good. The third tier is what I'm simply calling okay. And the fourth tier is poor. Now we're going to start at the bottom with the least desirable of this. So in that poor category, I only have one card. And it's sad because in the past, this card would have probably ranked in the excellent tier. But with its refresh a while ago, the Capital One Venture X has dropped to the bottom because the Capital One Venture X gives you Priority Pass and it also gives you access to the incredible Capital One lounges, but now it doesn't give any access for guests, either at Priority Pass or at their own lounges. You have to buy access for your authorized users. Now, authorized users on the card are free, but access to the lounges is not. So I think this is at the bottom of the list and the only one that's in the poor category. Now, when it comes to okay lounge access, there's quite a few that fit into this general grouping. The first is things like the Marriott Brilliant Card, the Citi Strata Elite Card. These are cards that give a Priority Pass that does have some guest access. Now, the reason I don't put them higher on the list is because Priority Pass lounges are really good overseas, but in the United States, it's kind of hit or miss whether you can find one. First of all, the lines can be long, and sometimes the quality is just much lower, even than some of the airline lounges. So it is some kind of access. That's why it's not down in the poor category, but it's just not consistent. So having some access is very, very helpful. The other card that I put in this general grouping is the Delta Reserve Card. Now, the Delta Reserve Card, I really like the card. I mean, it's got some great credits on it. It gives a companion certificate, and it does give access to both the American Express Centurion lounges and the Delta Sky Clubs. The problem is it gives access for only the card holder, except it does give 4 guest passes to the Sky Clubs. So basically, you can bring in a guest 4 times, only to the Sky Clubs, not to the Centurion lounges. So to me, that's just in the okay category. And the only reason it's above the poor grouping is because it does have that extra access to the Centurion lounges for the primary card holder. Now we get up to what I would consider to be good cards. I mean, these are cards that definitely work for people who are traveling as a family or people who are traveling as a couple. The first one in this group is the United Club Card. So the United Club card, it does give access, if you're flying on United, to United Clubs for you and one guest. It does not any longer give access to two guests like it did in the past before the refresh. And so when it comes to guests, that's okay because you can, as a couple, you can bring in your companion, but it doesn't give access anymore to some of their partner lounges overseas and things like that. It's just become much more restrictive. So I would say if you're flying United, it's a decent card, and that's why I put it in the good category, but it just can't rise to the level of excellence because it just has that one guest. It's very, very restrictive, and it's limited on what different clubs you can use it at, particularly regarding their partners. Now, also in the good category, I'm putting the American Express Platinum card. Now, if you're considering the Platinum card as a couple or as a family because you want to get into the Amex Centurion lounges, well, then this card would be down in the okay category because it doesn't give guest access to those lounges. But it does give a priority pass, and that priority pass does have guest access. So this card works well for priority pass, and then for the primary card holder, it does give access for just that one person to the Centurion lounges and to Delta Sky Clubs when you're flying on Delta. So that's a lot. In fact, it's often said that the Amex Platinum card has the most access for lounges, but it is the most access for lounges limited to the primary card holder. But when you go to priority passes, you can bring in guests. So I think this card still qualifies for the good category. Now at the top of the list, we have some of my favorite lounge cards. And here there are 2 bank cards and 1 card that's specific to one airline. First of all, we have 2 bank cards from the same bank, and that's Chase Bank. You have the Chase Sapphire Reserve card, and you have the Ritz-Carlton credit card. Now, these cards are great for couples that are traveling or for families because of their guest access policy. They have their own lounges, Chase Sapphire lounges, and these lounges are very nice. I mean, I like them. I prefer them over Centurion lounges most of the time. They also give a priority pass, and they give 2 guests both to priority pass and also to their own dedicated lounges, which is growing all the time. They're always adding more lounges in more locations. So that's very, very good. Now, when it comes to the reserve card, you do get access to Maple Leaf lounges. That's Air Canada's lounges. And you don't get that with the Ritz-Carlton card. But with the Ritz card, you do get kind of unlimited authorized users who get their own lounge access, which is a big benefit of that card. So to me, both of those are excellent, excellent cards for couples or families that are traveling and looking for lounge access. Now, the other card in this category is an airline card. It's the American Airlines Executive Card, because to me, that card is the best as far as lounge access goes of the 3 major airlines. It beats out the Delta Reserve for sure, that was down in the okay category, and it beats out the United Club card, which was in the good category, because it gives unlimited access to American Airlines clubs for you and 2 guests or you and your whole family. So that's a great, great lounge access policy for an airline card. It also gives access to some of American's One World partner lounges, which is very good as well. So that's kind of my list. Now, I know I didn't get to all the cards that are available with all the different issuers, but I think most of them would probably still fit into that okay category because they would have a priority pass that has some guest access. So generally, I think a lot of cards would really be lumped into that. What do you think of my list? Down below, tell me if I got one wrong. Let me know down below because I'm always looking for great lounge cards myself. Please consider my channel memberships. I have 2 tiers. You can check those out down below. I appreciate you being here. Hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you here next time.